Willie D Live.
What's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you represent. Throw up your flag. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already on YouTube, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. I let a few hundred of y'all come in, then I'm going in. But in the meantime, in the between time, I'm going to give some shots out to the early birds, starting with Taylor Nubia, or Taylor Nubia. There we go. Taylor Nubia. Renare. What's up? What's up? What's up? Am I pronouncing your name right? Renari Jones. Studio Gangster, what it do? Shiny Denise, Martin Curtis, Alicia Smith, Jay Derry, Arkansas up in the building, Texas Pimp. What it do? What's up, Justin? John Smith, Linda Martinez, Iris Lynn, Detroit. What up, Detroit? Tony Brown, Mona John, Marcus Changed, Nita Painter. When I hear that Marcus Changed, it made me think about people who talk about you when you move on in life. You know, when you move up, they say you changed. Ain't that the goal, y'all? To change? You got to evolve. Got to evolve. I'm not saying turn your back on people that help you out, that looked out for you, not that type of change. But you got to evolve, you know what I'm saying? When you get to a different level, man, you know, when you get to middle school, you don't do the same, or you get to high school, you don't do the same things you did in middle school. You get to college, you don't do the same things you did in high school. You know, you start working and earning your own money, you don't do the same things that you did when your mom and your daddy was giving you money. You hold on to that paper a little bit closer, right? Yeah, that's how that go. Going in, fam. Got a lot to talk about again today. We got Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett is running for Senate in Texas. She's going up against Corn. Yeah, man, this dude been sitting in office just collecting free checks. He ain't did nothing. I can't think of one thing that this dude has done to enrich the lives of Texans. So Jasmine Crockett is coming for his seat. We got Marjorie Taylor. She is scared to death, fam. She getting death threats. People are coming after her, saying she's a traitor for turning on the MAGA movement. Yeah. They want her head in the upper room. Yeah. So you also have singer David. Singer David is a primary target of investigators in Los Angeles right now. They are investigating the death of a young girl who was murdered at 15 years old, found chopped up in the trunk of David's Tesla vehicle. And they are saying now that David is the number one, well, not number one, but he's a prime suspect. They started to question the people closest to him. So the noose is tightening, so to speak. Donald Trump, your president, is dozing off again. Yeah, fam, they called him dozing off. You know, he's supposed to be trying to get the farmers some financial relief, and they caught him dozing off again. Well, they didn't have to catch him. I mean, he was right there for the whole world to see. And he just kind of checked out, you know, right in the middle of a discussion. He just kind of checked out. You remember how Biden used to do that? What they used to say about Biden? What Trump is doing it now, and there's not much talk about it on the right. I wonder why. But first, fam, let's get into some breaking news, some tragic breaking news. We got a school stabbing, fam. School stabbing. Check it out.
We want to go back out to Amber. We checked in with you maybe about 10 minutes ago. Any new details that you have been able to learn in the last few minutes?
We don't have any new details at this time, but we do have more and more parents that are coming out to this entrance of North Forsyth High School. I'm going to move so you can see we still have a lot of police presence here. Winston-Salem Police is out here. Forsyth County Sheriff's Office is out here. But we just have so many different parents that are coming out and they're standing at the entrance of this school. Like we said about 10 minutes ago, I mean, this is an emotional time. Though we don't know the ins and outs of this, right? This is an emotional time for so many people. Obviously, the Sheriff's Office confirmed that we have that stabbing happened here at North Forsyth High School. I was able to talk to a mom who said that she heard from her son earlier today, and he said he confirmed that stabbing, and she said that she immediately came out here. She tried to see if he was okay. Her son's okay, but there are multiple parents that have been collapsing to the ground, screaming, crying. I mean, it's very emotional out here, guys.
Have you seen, Amber, any school buses? It looked like there was a school bus leaving behind you. Have you seen any parents come to pick up their children? I know that they're being asked to go to a staging area at the corporate office for Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools, but have you seen any activity when it comes to buses?
So there, and I'm not really sure the setup here at North Forsyth High School, but there is a bus lot directly behind us, and we did see a couple buses pull out of there. Since we've been standing out here, we've seen law enforcement kind of ushering a couple cars that are non-law enforcement cars out of this area. So we aren't sure if those are teachers, if those are students. We're still trying to get the ins and outs of what exactly happened. But right now, it looks like they're letting somebody else either in or out of this entrance right now. They're letting someone in, actually. Yeah, I mean, honestly, because this is so fresh and because so many people are impacted by this situation, it's difficult to get more information right now because we still, I mean, I can imagine a lot of these parents that are standing over here. I'm gonna turn the camera over here. A lot of these parents that are standing over here are asking the same questions that you are. I mean, everyone is wondering what happened here today and when will we get those answers. So we're gonna stay out here and we're gonna try to talk to some of these people. Again, parents have been collapsing to the ground. They've been crying. I mean, it's a very, very upsetting time out here today.
We're going to keep our camera on a wide shot then. We want to give parents, you know, their privacy as they go through this. Amber, you mentioned you have talked with a couple of parents, one of whom believes her child knows a child involved in this. I want to be clear, we have not confirmed that a student was stabbed, but can you relay any of the information in your conversation with that parent? What did she say happened?
So this parent told me that she received a text message from her son today saying that there was a stabbing here at North Forsyth High School. She said that her son told her that he knew the person involved and he knows the extent of those injuries as well, which I'm not going to get into right now just because we really don't know. We don't have that confirmed with law enforcement, so I don't want to report inaccurate information. But she said that, you know, whenever she got that text message, she immediately came here because she said she woke up this morning and there was a delay because of weather. Obviously, there was black ice on the road, so her son was delayed coming to school. But she said she had a mother's intuition, which is kind of crazy to even think about. She had a mother's intuition and told her son, you know what, why don't you just stay home from school today? And she said her son decided that he wanted to go to school. He wanted to see his friends. He wanted to go to his classes, and then something like this happens. She said nothing like this should happen. You should be going to work, worrying about your children doing their homework, not worrying about something like this, some sort of incident like this happening. It's upsetting to think about.
Amber, the mother that you spoke to, you know, she said she had a mother's intuition for her son or child not to go to school. Has she talked about reoccurring violence or reoccurring chaos or anything of that nature happening at the school that would make her feel that way?
It seems like there's something.
I'm sorry, guys. I
going
did
on.
hear your question, Lauren. We have a lot of people
Yeah.
that are yelling behind
Okay.
us.
Amber,
I'm
we're
going to step
gonna-
out of the way. I'll look at it in just a second. But to
Yeah.
answer, oh, sorry,
No,
Megan.
go ahead. You go ahead.
To answer your question, Lauren, I mean, again, we have to get this confirmed with the school district when it comes to specific situations, but the mother said that she has heard of violent incidents happening here before. So she said that her son is very close to finishing the school year early this year, and she said she could not be more thankful because she does not want him going to school here. Again, we'll need to talk to the district to see what kind of incidents they've had, but that's just what she told me today.
Okay, we are going to let you assess what's going on there, Amber. Thank you for your fluid reporting and your respect to working to confirm the facts as we get them in. We know this is a sensitive situation, and we want to make sure that parents get the information they need first.
Yes.
Well, there you have it, fam. Another tragic event happens at a school in the United States of America. Can we just rename the country right now and just go ahead and call it the Ununited States of America? Ununited? Maybe that sounds a little weird. Maybe disunited? Yeah, something like that. Because ain't nothing united about these states. There's nothing united about the cities, nothing united about the schools. Everything, and I do mean everything, is a competition. Y'all ever notice that? Like, I do believe that one of the reasons why Americans are at each other so much is the competition that we create. Yeah, the competition may make us thrive to be greater individually, right? But collectively, there's a certain amount of disdain and bad energy that goes around because of this level of competition that we have for one another. And we're always competing against each other. I remember back in the day, I used to actually gamble against my friends. I'm not thinking, now listen to what I'm saying, fam, because I'm going to give you some real game. I'm not thinking that gambling against my friends is going to have my friend feel some type of way about me when I win his money or when he wins my money. Keep in mind, we just coming up. And this is whether you're poor or not. But if you're poor, it's really a problem when you lose your money, when you gamble and you lose, right? Yeah, you volunteered to do it, but when somebody beats you out your money, you're going to feel a certain way about that person who beat you out of your money. Even if you did place a bet, you're going to feel some type of way about that person beating you out of your money. And I couldn't wrap my head around that early when I was like early teens. It really took me even into my early 20s, well, actually mid-20s before I caught my snap on how unproductive it is to gamble against your friends. It don't really make sense if you really think about it. When you gamble, I know when I gamble, I can take my bitter with my sweet. But let's say my friend decide he want a cap. Now he getting under my skin. Now, so he didn't just beat he didn't just beat me. He didn't just win my money. On top of that, he insulted me. He's playing games and laughing in my face, adding insult to injury. So now I got a problem with him and I want to do something to him. Family members growing up, I seen this happen. And I know this is a bit off topic, but I'm going to connect this in a minute. Family members growing up, all of us broke, and we taking our last little few dollars trying to beat the other family member. I'm talking about cousins, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, gambling against each other. we probably ain't got but $30 between all of us. But each of us is trying to take what little the other one has. We're trying to win. We're trying to get all of it for ourselves. Instead of all of us looking at what we have and saying, how can we put this money together and go out and win? Go out and do something productive and double up on this money. How can we do that? Instead, we're sitting around trying to figure out how we can take from the other one, how we can win the other one's little money that they do have. And so now you really ain't as close with your cousin as you could be, or your uncle or your aunt or even your sibling, because you still mad about when they won your money the other day, that little money that you did have. You still mad about that. And that even spills over to when you start getting real money and somebody beats you out of your real money. You know, you're going to have a problem with that person. So I realized by the time I got to my mid-20s that it was not a good idea to take from people that I considered to be family, people that I rock with. I realized it wasn't a good idea. I didn't want to be the source of pain for them. I didn't want to be the source of loss for them. If they lose their money, it ain't going to be because of me. Now, if they get some money, that might be because of me, but they're not going to lose any money because of me. So I made it a point. From that point on, once I caught my snap, I never, ever, ever gambled against family and friends again. Sometimes I see my family members gambling and I might come through and I just give everybody some money to keep gambling. I just, I ain't talking about no big money. I'm talking about, shoot everybody at 20 or 50 or something like that. Give about 100 or whatever, something like that, But I won't gamble myself. I don't do that, So getting back to the competition, this is what I'm talking about, competing against people that you are supposed to be teammates with. A lot of these youngsters who are fighting in these schools and who are stabbing, a big part of it is competition. A big part of it. It's the same thing it was when we were going to school, right? When most of us were going to school, it's the same thing. It's competition. Competition breeds envy, right? Competition breeds hatred. And so if you don't really have an understanding of who you are and that you're really not in competition, ultimately, let me put it like this, your greatest competitor is yourself. That is the greatest competitor you'll ever face is yourself. Once you realize that, yeah, I know I'm sizing myself up against other guys, because we competing for the girls and, I'm sizing myself up against different entrepreneurs and people that do this or that, or ball players or whatever on the team. We size, got all of that. But ultimately, ain't nobody colder than me. I don't care if you are colder than me. You ain't colder than me. Not to me. In my head, I'm the coldest, man. I'm the coldest ever. Period. Point blank, period. I'm the coldest. Look, fam, I don't care what no woman say about no other dude out there. I just don't believe that there's a doper dude out there than me. I don't believe that there's a dude out there that's doper than me. Now, fellas, that don't take nothing from y'all. You should feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? You should have that same mentality. Like, man, ain't no doper dude out there than me. She ain't gonna find, we all have probably said it before. You ain't gonna find nobody better than me. You ain't gonna find nobody. That's how I feel. Like, I don't think it. That's what I think. I ain't gotta say I feel. I think. That is my belief that you ain't, a woman is not going to find, my woman ain't going to find a man better than me. She might find another man. She might find another good man. She ain't going to find one better than me. Absolutely not. God made me. He broke the mold. That's right. I said it. He broke the mold. When I was looking at this story, I was seeing story after story after story of children stabbing one another. I just couldn't fathom that type of thing happening when I was going to school. Like, it just wasn't that type of energy out there. I read one of y'all comments earlier. Somebody said that people forgot about God. They forgot about God, and this has been happening. Now, check this out, family. Now, check this out. I think I'm qualified to say this because I'm not a Bible thumper. Last time I was in church, somebody was dead. You know, so I don't get off into that like that. You know, I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person. But I did notice the correlation between the uptick in violence in schools and taking out God, the whole God concept. I did notice the correlation there. And I said it myself. I said, man, it seemed like they're trying to get us to not have belief in a higher power, right? Now, I believe in a higher power, but I don't believe that power is some guy in the sky. That's my belief. You can believe what you want to believe. I think everybody needs to believe what helps them sleep good at night or in the morning, you know, whenever you prefer to go to sleep. But when you believe in a higher power, you have somebody to answer to. You know, it's like, especially when you're grown, when you get grown, a lot of us, especially if you're grown and you got your own business and all that kind of stuff, you know, you don't have to pretty much answer to no human. So, but if there's some type of spiritual thing that you have going, that you feel that you the need to answer to, that can keep you in check. Because oftentimes when you can just do whatever you want and you calling your own shots and all this stuff, you don't really respect nobody enough to care about what their opinion is, you can make a lot of mistakes. A lot of times youngsters make mistakes because they don't value the opinion of others. They don't care what their mother thinks or their father thinks because their mother and father don't care what they think. Their mother and father don't care, really show signs of really caring about them. They don't too much care about what other adults think because they have yet to see an adult stand up and defend their honor, defend them, show some interest in them. They have yet to see an adult take up for them and really try to protect them. So they don't have anybody, and then you take away the spiritual aspect of it, and they have no one they feel that they have to be held accountable to. They have no one they feel that they have to honor. No one they feel they have to respect. Thus, you get a person who is unhinged. You get a person who is unchecked. And they'll go out and they do all kinds of crazy things. They might have sex in the house, in their own parents' house. That's very disrespectful. But they might do something like that as a kid. They may run the streets. They may start stealing out the store, robbing people. I can tell you this, when I was in the streets, Although I love my mom, I really didn't think she cared too much for me. So I didn't care too much about the consequences of my actions and how they would affect her. I didn't really think about that because I didn't think she cared that much about me. I wasn't thinking that, well, man, you know, this woman is a single mother of 5. She out here doing it all by herself, you know, and here I am. Well, yeah, you know, she hard on me, but I make it even harder by being out here acting up. I'm cutting up. She got to take time off of work to come up to the school and deal with my shenanigans. She got to go to the police department and, you know, check on me. You know, she got to go to the jail and visit. You know, I got her going through it, man. But I didn't think about all of that. I didn't think about it because I didn't think she cared. A lot of youngsters pulling out these knives and guns because they don't believe anybody care. That's the bottom line. A lot of these youngsters are dealing with insufficient life, an insufficient lifestyle, insufficient love, insufficient clothing, insufficient housing, insufficient food, insufficient respect, insufficient guidance. That's what they're dealing with. A lot of them are dealing with that. When people don't have somebody or something that they respect, that they want to honor, they are going to behave in a reckless manner. That's just human nature. Now, there's always an exception, but I'm talking about the rule. I'm talking about, generally speaking, this is the way human beings are wired. A lot of these youngsters need help. They need to participate in conflict resolution courses. See, they teach a lot of things at schools that kids are not going to need to help them through life. Knowing how to dissect a damn frog is not going to help you navigate dealing with these bullies who are trying to take your head off after school. Both sides, all students should have to have conflict resolution skills. That should be mandatory. It is time to start teaching kids the skills that they're going to need to actually not just survive, but thrive in this world. They should be taking conflict resolution skills. That should be mandatory. That should not be an elective. That should be mandatory. Conflict resolution courses should be mandatory. Tech AI courses should be mandatory. Financial literacy should be mandatory. Reading, mathematics should be mandatory. These are the things, home cooking. What do they call it? What they call it? Home. What do they call it? Home something. I know they have economic courses in school, but what was that course called in school that dealt with home, and they taught you how to cook and mind home economics? That's what it's called. Boy, who said that? Blackjack. Blackjack gonna be somebody. Blackjack got it, man. Got it. Home economics. One of my favorite courses, home economics. And here's why. When I was in home economics, my best friend, let me back up. He was already in home economics. And he came to me one day and he was like, Willie, you need to transfer your class to home economics. And I say, man, I don't want to be in no room with a bunch of girls, because it was just him and all girls. He said, Willie, me, you, and a bunch of girls. And I said, oh, I'm slow as hell. He said, me, you, and a bunch of girls. I was like, oh. And it was that home economics class that probably, it didn't teach me more about girls and women than anything. Life taught me that. But it really served as a launch pad for how to, deal with girls and young women and what to expect and what they expected, right? Because I would just sit there and they'd be talking in class and I'd just be sitting up there ear hustling, for a whole hour, just ear hustling. And they talk about everything. You know what the number one problem they have with boys, young boys? Kiss and tell. Kiss and tell. So I made sure that was my number one thing that I paid attention to. I'm going to do some kissing, but I ain't going to do no telling. When I do my kissing, I'm not going to tell. And I stuck to the code. I stuck to the code. Do all that talking, man. I don't do it. You'll never see me on a podcast, ever. You'll never see me on a podcast talking about what women I'd have been with. Yeah, you'll never hear me talking about calling women out, especially when some of these women are married to, You'll never hear me on no podcast saying some goofy shit like that, If you're with a woman anyway, especially if you're hanging with a woman, man, people are gonna assume anyway. You ain't really got to say something, whether you're doing something or not doing something. They're gonna assume anyway. Anyway, fam, that's that. We got David, singer David. He's in a major jam right now, fam. He's in a major jam. I'm talking about the investigators, are closing in on David. His record exec appeared before a grand jury, and the police asked him straight up, why didn't you call the police? The story goes, the president of David's touring company was grilled Monday by a deputy district attorney in front of a grand jury on why he didn't call the cops. A grand jury is hearing evidence in the death of Celeste Rivas. Homicide Division is considering David a suspect, and what it says is an apparent homicide. Robert Mongeroth, the general manager of Mogul Vision, David's record label, is also the president of Zara Brothers Travel, David's touring company. Morgan Roth testified all day Monday before the LA grand jury, at one point with a half dozen people in the hallway. Morgan Roth came out into the hallway and was talking to his lawyer loud enough so others could hear. He said, referring to Beth Silverman, the deputy DA presenting the case before the grand jury. She was very pushy on why I didn't call the police. He went on to recount how he responded. I said, I feel like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour. We don't know the name or we don't know the time frame of the tour to which he was referring, but David was on tour when Celeste's body was discovered in his Tesla, which had been parked near an LA house he was renting. This underscores David is squarely in the crosshairs of LAPD and LA County District Attorney. So what I want to know is, fam, do you think it was David tour managers or the general manager of his touring company's responsibility to contact the police once they realized that a body was found, or once he realized that a body was found in the trunk of David's car. Was it his responsibility? No. I don't think that was his responsibility. I don't think it was his responsibility. You know, one could argue that he had a ethical or moral right or moral responsibility to speak on that or say something about it. But why should he have to call the police? They know who David is. They know where to get him. Why they can't just go get him? Why should everybody have to be involved in the case if they're not in the case? If I'm not in the case, do your job, officer. I don't like the idea of having to do the police job. Because I don't recall ever a police officer helping me do my job. I don't recall the police ever writing one lyric for any of the hundreds of songs that I've written. I don't remember the police ever coming over there and say, I never remember any police officers coming through and say, man, let's get over there and help Willie D write them lyrics, man. You know what I'm talking about? You know, he's going to be talking about us. So we may as well control the narrative. I don't recall them doing that. Hell, I don't recall them walking into the kitchen at Kentucky Fried Chicken and helping me cook that chicken. Yeah. That's for y'all who didn't know. I used to work in Kentucky. Yeah, I was cold with that 10-10-10. Y'all don't know nothing about that 10-10-10. I swore to secrecy on that 10-10-10. You know, that's the whole, formula, for making the chicken, perfect. I'm talking about perfect. That's the formula. And I was sworn to secrecy to not speak on that. I'm really not even supposed to be talking about this. I could get killed. You know what I'm talking about? This secret ingredients and stuff. I can't speak on this stuff. Now, I know some of y'all have asked me through the years, like, what is it, Will? What is it not? And I'm like, I'm not giving up that information. That's sensitive information. It's sensitive information. And I never, ever give that information up. But yeah, I was that dude. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Flop that thing. Clean that floor. You had to, some of y'all don't know, but when you're in the kitchen cooking, you're also responsible for keeping your station clean, your workstation clean. That includes mopping floors. So, grease drop on the floors, food sometimes drop on the floors, and you're responsible for cleaning that stuff, keeping your station clean. So, and that's inside information right there, y'all. Some of y'all ain't never worked in the restaurant business. Now, this is for all my restaurant people. All y'all who worked in the restaurant business before, for me to you, this is us. Let's block all these other people out because they don't understand the commitment it takes to work in fast food. So we're going to block all of them out. I'm talking to you directly. We have a lot of pressure on ourselves working in fast foods. That's why it's not wise for people to come running up on you and stuff in a fast food, man, because we already on the edge. We already being underpaid. And I've never received a fast food check for more than what I expected or even the amount that I expected. It was always lower than the lowest amount I thought I was going to get. But they be finding a way to get you, man. So yeah, you don't want to mess with the fast food industry like that. You don't want to mess with us like that, man, because we different. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all be talking about football fraternity and military fraternity. No, y'all ain't got nothing on the fast food fraternity, man. We different. We cut from a different cloth. Yeah. That's right. Y'all don't want to mess with that right there. Y'all don't mess with that. But yeah, David got some problems, fam. David, he got some serious problems right now. And I've said initially, I kind of bit my tongue on this story when I first heard it, because I was hoping for the best. I was hoping that the brother somehow, some way didn't find himself caught up in something like that. But immediately, if a body is found in the trunk of your vehicle, I don't give a damn if you are on tour. I don't care if you the king of Zimbabwe or whatever. That's a fictional country. But I don't care who you are. If they find a body in the trunk of your vehicle, you are the prime suspect. So that's what I gathered from the moment that I heard about that case. I said, he's the prime suspect. He absolutely is. I know if it was my loved one, let's take race out of it. If it's my loved one and I hear that just listening to the facts, this guy is on tour. My loved one was found in the trunk of his vehicle. She's underage, he's this, and just all of the little things. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk to this dude. I know we got to pull up on him. In fact, they wouldn't have had to worry about the police questioning him and telling him to come to the station when he get back in town. We're going to pull up on the tour. Yeah, we're going to pull up and we're going to gather our own information. We're going to do our own investigation. So, yeah, David, he got some problems. He got some serious problems. And they also talked about how he and another guy who they consider to be an accomplice went to another city in California, and they were out in a remote area for several hours. And they're thinking that perhaps that's where they either murdered or chopped up the body. Yeah. The motive could be anything. The motive could be anything. She was 15 years old. You know, perhaps they got into a fight and he hurt her. You know, maybe she bumped her head and died. And he said, okay, I got to finish the job. You know, I got to conceal this. Maybe she said she was pregnant. He freaked out. Can't be getting a 15-year-old pregnant. Maybe she said she's going to go to the police. She freaked out. You know, for a kid, a 15-year-old kid is not going to have it all together mentally. Hell, David, I think, is 21, 22. He ain't got it all together mentally. Making these videos about death. He even got a video where he where he shows a person being put in the trunk of a vehicle. A dead person being put in the trunk of a vehicle. Yeah. So yeah, he got some explaining to do. He got some explaining to do. Let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been going through it lately, fam. You know, she was accused of turning on the Republican Party. And when she did that, boy, they did not like that at all. They did not like it. Marjorie Taylor Greene turned on Donald Trump, and she was going off. And she finally was like, you know what? I'm done with all of this. I still want to be in the Republican Party, though. And they said, no, 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 you don't. You out of here. So they started threatening her. They put threats on her life. And she decided that the best thing for her to do to preserve life is to step away from her position as Congresswoman. Now, here's the thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene had no problem when Jasmine Crockett's life was being threatened on a daily basis. She never spoke up once. She never spoke out against the threats that were made on Jasmine Crockett's life. But then she finds herself in the same position, and she appears to want empathy. Check out.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking out about what led to her sudden decision to resign from Congress come this January. Atlanta News First, Alani.
Hold on, let's start that again.
Latang is live for us tonight in Midtown. And Alani, what is the Republicans saying tonight?
So on X, Marjorie Taylor Greene, representative, is telling us that she's reported 773 death threats. These are threats that are coming to her office via phone call or email, not including the countless online threats her and her family have received. And last month, Greene had blamed this escalation on her current feud with President Donald Trump.
He called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong, and those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
And then Greene says after what Trump had said, new threats from people from her own party started to come in. She says assassination threats had been sent directly on her son. Greene says even things like opening her mail has been potentially deadly, and showed a video of what appears to be law enforcement with gloves opening an envelope in June 2024. Addressed to her, she says has a syringe inside. Representative Greene then tells Republicans to take a hard look in the mirror, throwing the blame back on the Trump administration. She adds a congressional Republican majority who takes orders from the White House and relinquishes all control to the executive branch is not serving the will of its voters. Now, she ends with tweeting out that she says that death threats and political violence is out of control, and the political industrial complex is what's to blame for the division of the country. She ended by saying the American people are the only ones who can come together to save the country. It's still not clear who will take Greene's seat after her resignation in less than a month from now. But for now, reporting live in Midtown, I'm Alani Latang, Atlanta News First.
Well, well, well. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. Yeah. Marjorie was in full support of Donald Trump and his antics when he was making these threats towards Jasmine Crockett, when he was riling up the base. Yeah, you know, when he was firing them up, getting them ready, like making it cool to make death threats against Jasmine Crockett. And he did not do anything to try to quell those death threats. He did nothing. He stood by. He put fuel on the fire. And Marjorie actually was one of his personal henchwomen, one of his personal hitchwomen. She was a personal henchwoman or henchwoman. She went out there and did his bidding. See, this is why you got to be careful of supporting the snake. You got to be careful of feeding the snake, because eventually you're not going to have anything for the snake to consume, and then the snake is going to consume you. So now Trump is on her throat. He's on her neck. And now she's talking about how her life is being threatened and how she's afraid. She's looking for empathy. On a personal note, I feel nothing. That's right, I said it. I feel nothing, fam. I feel nothing because she brought it on herself. She did that to herself. She did that to herself. Marjorie is saying that these death threats are so extreme, and she's wondering if she's going to be the next Charlie Kirk. She says that over the flood of death threats she's been getting over since Donald Trump branded her a traitor, even asking if she's supposed to meet the same fate as Charlie Kirk, for all of this to finally stop. They wanted to stop. Speaking on CNN Tuesday morning, MTG said, the threats have gotten so out of control, she's counted 773 death threats so far, some even aimed at her son. And when she brought it up to Trump, she claims he brushed it off in what she calls an extremely unkind way. You don't say. They were so close. I remember they had a picture where Trump was leaning down on, looked like they're about to kiss. Wow. What a difference having some balls make. What a difference standing up on your own two makes. Marjorie says that Trump showed zero sympathy and her other colleagues weren't much better. She claims most didn't respond at all. And the only thing she got back was a half-hearted on it from Kash Patel. Wow. Trump slapped the traitor label on her after she pushed to release the Epstein files and accused him of neglecting his MAGA base. But Marjorie says she isn't mad because as a Christian, she says forgiving him is the easy part. Forgiving him is the easy part. As a Christian? Since when has Christians started, or were her type of Christians? When did they started just forgiving people? Whatever. But even with the fear of a Charlie Kirk style fate lingering in the back of her mind, she says she's staying positive, telling CNN that after she steps down from Congress in January, what's next for her is simply a lot of happiness. Now, so what she's going to do, she's going to be outcast from the Republican Party. The Democrats are weaker than the Republicans, so they'll probably let her in. I'm sure they'll let her in. And they'll probably put on MSN or CNN, something like that, and she'll get millions of dollars, and people act like she never said all of those nasty things that she said. I don't think you should let her in. When people turn and do the amount of damage that she's done, I say you make it a moment of reckoning. Yeah, you make it a moment of reckoning. Make them bow down. Make them bow all the way down. Make her go through it like everybody else go through it. Make her go through it like her opponents went through it. She was one of the worst just a few months ago. Just one of the absolute most vile human beings on the planet. I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody went to her with a check, but something happened. First of all, she didn't have any type of spiritual moment because we know she do not have a spiritual bone in her body. So I'm sure it ain't got nothing to do with having some type of spiritual revelation. No, I think this is very much some type of human thing going on. Somebody got to her, something happened. She has an alternative. She has an ulterior motive. She has options. She got a job waiting somewhere, and that job was already worked out before she decided she was going to quit. Because I'm going to tell you something about politicians. politicians always plan ahead. They never just say, I'm going to step down. Step down? Oh, hell no. Once they get that power, especially if they get on a level of a congresswoman, man, once they get that power, man, they stick with it. They keep going. And it's always about going higher and higher and higher. That's what they do. So she ain't just stepping down for the betterment of her family and the country. Nah, man. She got something else going on. She got another plate at work here. She got something else going on. But I do like the dissension within the party. I like the fighting. I like the infighting. It's good. I think it's very healthy for them. I think that these people who blindly follow Trump, and no matter what they do, I mean, no matter what he does, they just blindly follow him. These people, they need to be exiled. They should be gathered and sent to the moon without oxygen mask. Yeah. These people are detriments to society, especially the ones who have political positions. These lawmakers, oh man, they are the worst. Lawmakers, the judges who acquiesce to him, oh, they're the worst. They're the absolute worst. They are the absolute worst. But they're panicking right now, fam. Boy, the Republicans are panicking. MAGA is panicking. I wish I could have saw their faces when it was first announced that Jasmine Crockett was running for U.S. Senate. Ooh-wee, man. If I could have saw the looks on their faces, yeah, that would have been worth, that would have been worth seeing. That would have been worth seeing. Check out Jasmine Crockett.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble. But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person. Somebody said the other day, she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding. Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
Boy.
Some cookies sweeten.
Get out of here. They're nervous, fam. They are nervous. They are absolutely nervous. Here's an article that I found on the Associated Press. Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett. You know what? Let me share this with y'all. I'll share it with you. I'll share. Sharing is caring. I'll share. Boom. Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett launched a campaign Monday for the U.S. Senate in Texas, telling President Donald Trump, I'm coming for you, boy. And bringing a national profile to what could be a critical race for Democrats' long shot hopes of reclaiming a Senate in majority in Texas in the midterms. Okay. Crockett, one of Congress's most outspoken Democrats, a frequent target of GOP attacks and a Trump target, jumped into the race on the final day of qualifying in Texas. She is seeking the Senate seat held by Republican John Cornyn, who is running for re-election in the GOP-dominated state. As a candidate who is constantly attacked and seen as a threat, it's because I am, Crockett told supporters in Dallas. I'm the only one who has gone toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and there's a reason. He's always got my name in his stank mouth. Representative Jasmine Crockett, Democrat, Texas, questions the witness during a House committee on oversight committee. Okay, that's associated with the picture above. Democrats need a net gain of 4 Senate seats to wrest control from Republicans next November. When most of the seats up for re-election are in states like Texas that Donald Trump won last year. Democrats have long hoped to make Texas more competitive after decades of Republican dominance. Cornyn, first elected to the Senate since 2002, is facing the toughest GOP primary of his career against Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and U.S. Rep. Wesley Hunt. Crockett's announcement came hours after former Representative Colin Allred ended his own campaign for the Democratic nomination in favor of attempting a House comeback bid. She faces a March 3rd primary against Democratic State Representative James Tallarico, a former teacher with a rising national profile fueled by viral social media posts challenging Republican policies such as private school vouchers and requiring the 10 Commandments in classrooms. It's going to be a sprint from now until the primary. But in Texas, you have to think about the voter base overall in November too, said Kamau Marshall. So GOP hopes to make Crockett style a liability. Yep. Tallarico raised almost $6.3 million in the 3 weeks after he formally organized his primary campaign committee in September and had nearly $5 million in cash on hand at the end of the month. Campaign finance reports showed. Crockett raised about $2.7 million for her House campaign fund from July through September and ended September with $4.6 million. Crockett could test Democratic voters' appetite for a blunt communicator who is eager to take on Republicans as Democrats pursue their first statewide victory in Texas since 1994. I don't know why the damn Democrats got a problem with a blunt communicator. That's the problem they've been having. They haven't had a blunt communicator. This is why they suffer, in my opinion, this is why they have such a hard time expressing themselves. This is why they have a hard time with their message. I don't want to see nobody going up against Trump. If I'm voting Democrat, if I'm a Democrat voter, I don't want to be getting behind somebody who's scared to take on Trump. Well, you know, when they go high, when they go low, we go high. And they gotta, no, man, when they go low, we go so low to the floor, we can't go no more. That's who I want to get behind. Think about it, fam. Anytime, look, growing up, I'll give you a perfect example. Growing up, you may not have liked your cousin who fight all the time. You may not have liked that cousin. You may not have really gotten along with that cousin. But if it was somebody in the neighborhood wanted to jump you, and you had your cousin with you, and y'all walking down the street, man, it was almost like walking with a pit bull. It was always walking like walking with a pit bull. You already knew. I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't never scared. Boy, you was ready because you knew your cousin could add hands. You need people who about that action. You know, you need people who ain't afraid to make contact. You got to have those type of people around. Yeah, it's cool to have people that, and I'm not talking about somebody who looking forward to the drama. I'm saying the best type of person to have around that got hands and that don't mind some contact is a reluctant warrior. A reluctant warrior understands the assignment. A reluctant warrior does not look forward to drama and conflict. but they're very good at handling drama and conflict. They're very, very good at handling drama and conflict. Whereas you got just a regular dude out there that's talking loud and always body, whatever, he gonna probably get his head knocked off, because you can see him coming from a mile away. You can see her coming from, you can hear her coming from a mile away. But that reluctant warrior who understands the art of conflict and combat, who knows how to think before he acts, he's going to be more successful more often than not. That's the person you want on your team. Yeah, you want that dude. But then if you're talking about just war, regular war, then you just want hitters. You want as many hitters on your team. It don't matter if they don't know how to think or nothing like that. You just want hitters. You talking about war, you want hitters. Just go out, it's on site, you just want hitters. Yeah. You remember Joe Pesci in, what was that, Goodfellas? Joe Pesci was off the chain. He was uncontrollable. Funny how? Funny how? Remember that line? Funny how? What do you mean funny? I make you laugh. Funny, I amuse you. Funny how? You didn't know what to think. The dude was a sociopath. But you'd rather have him on your team than on somebody else's team. Because if he's on your team if he's on your team, he actually keep the other team honest, because they don't want to have to deal with you, because they know if they mess with you, you got a sociopath on your side who will destroy everything. That is the reason Trump is still moving around and doing what he's able to do. They know, the Republicans know, they got a sociopath on that team. They got a sociopath who will do anything to win. And at the end of the day, they just want to win. Winning the war is most important. If you're at war, winning is the most important thing. How you win? Winning is the most important thing. And that's what they understand about having to deal with Trump. They understand that he's their best chance to win. So they allow him to do all of the stuff that he does. They allow him to display those sociopathic attitudes and actions, rather than have him not on their team or go the other way. In their mind, he's their best chance. You're dealing with sociopaths. A sociopath identifies with sociopaths. You're dealing with uncivilized mutts, the uncivilized mutts of this country, the racist of this country. They're uncivilized. And so they need somebody that's uncivilized to carry out the vision. Yeah. That's what that's about. But Jasmine Crockett got these Republicans in MAGA spooked. She got it, and she waited till the last day to file. How much you want to bet she had that paperwork ready a whole month ago? Ooh-wee, man. Yeah, she got them spooked. She got them spooked. She got uphill. She has an uphill battle though, because Texas overall, if all she needed was Houston voters, it'd be a slam dunk. But Texas is widespread and has many little pockets of progressive resistance. We put it like that. A lot of pockets of progressive resistance in Texas. And so that's how you can get these Republicans winning on a national level so often is because, you know, it's a lot of uncivilized mutts that live in Texas. Houston, we're different. Houston we're in Texas, but we're not Texas. You know, we're different. We're different. Yeah, you got some of these people out here. It's some of them out here, it's some of them. But overall, it's a whole different culture in Houston. It's a different culture. Jasmine Crockett, she knows something though. She's running. She ain't no dummy by no means. So if she's running, she must know something. She knows something. So we'll see how that go. I definitely keep y'all abreast of what's going on with that. Speaking of being abreast, man, what rhymes with abreast? Rest. Donald Trump, your president, can't seem to get enough rest lately. Yeah. So he's not getting rest at home because, you know, they say it's a lady inside the White House that they be hearing noises and stuff with Secret Service agents and stuff. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, fam, he can't seem to get enough rest at home, so he takes the time to rest during press conferences and meetings. Family, man, check out Donald Trump. Donald Trump was nodding off. He dozed off during a roundtable event in the White House's cabinet room on Monday. This marks the second time in less than 1 week that the 79-year-old has been caught struggling to stay awake during an official event. Trump announced a multi-billion-dollar deal, aid package for U.S. farmers who have been hurt by his global trade wars at Monday's roundtable. But as Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins began explaining the package, the elderly man slipped into a heavy-eyed daze. Check this dude out, fam.
So just in the next couple of weeks, every farmer that is able to apply for it will know exactly what that number looks like. So as you are going to your lender, as you are working to ensure and understanding what you can plant for next year, you will have that number in hand. And we will continue to talk to our farmers, continue to understand exactly what this looks like and what is necessary. The final thing I'll say is
12 billion.
Well, we're holding $1 billion back. So today we are announcing $11 billion. We are holding $1 billion back just to ensure that we are.
If he wouldn't have fell asleep, he would have known that she said 11 billion. Boy, it is absolutely amazing how his supporters are against something until he does it. And then they have nothing but excuses and explanations. It is amazing how they do that. I saw one of those pinhead chicks on Fox talk about him falling asleep. And she was like, well, sometimes it's okay to get a little quick nap in between, you got to be ready, it's like, hey, it's been hard for me to get sleep lately, so it's hard. It's kind of hard sometimes. But when it was on the other foot, they were destroying Joe. Even gave him a nickname, Sleepy Joe. They were destroying Joe Biden every day. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. He can't stay awake. He can't stay awake. He needs to be replaced. Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Joe. And now they refuse to talk about Trump falling asleep. They just skate around it. The hypocrisy is next level. At one point, The orange man tilted his head towards Rollins, 53, only for his eyes to shut and his head to fall backwards slightly before he jolted himself back awake. How did he do it? Here's how he did it. There's 12 billion. I heard you, Melania. I heard that. I said 5 pieces of chicken. I said 5. That's 5. I think I boo-booed. Oh, man. Man, this dude is something else. Trump can't stay awake. He can't stay awake. I saw somebody put in the comments, he can't stay awake because he stay up on social media all day. Just on social media all day long, just on social media. Here you go. You know, Shadur Sanders, he's great. Oh, man. This dude is something else, man. Shadur Sanders is great. You know what? You know what, man? I'm tell you what I'm finna do. I'm finna see if I can call dude right quick. I'm gonna see if I can call him. Hold on, fam. Hold on. Hold on. I'm finna try to call. Yeah, I got the bad line, fam. Y'all think I can't call this fool? Hold on. Okay, hold on. But damn, it looked like I must have misplaced a number or something. Let's see. Damn. I had the number, fam. Let me call my buddy and tell him to send me the number. When I call, but send this message. Yeah, I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him on live. Donald Trump struggled to stay awake, carried on. His eyelids drooping and fluttering open again as Rollins detailed how $11 billion would be directed to her department's new assistance program for farmers. That's when Trump suddenly snapped alive and interrupted Rollins, saying, "It's 12 billion." Rollins explained to the president that $11 billion would be used to provide one-time payments to crop farmers by February of next year, with another $1 billion to be held back for crop and covered by the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program. And Trump said, very tricky. What's tricky about reserving funds, having a safety net? Reserving funds for an associated entity. What's tricky about that? Trump told the roundtable that the funds would come from tariffs revenues. The event was also attended by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, 63, as well as farmers and members of Congress. It's worth noting that none of these other people fell asleep during the event. When reached for comment, White House Assistant Press Secretary Liz Huston told the Daily Beast in a statement, "The Daily Beast is a trash publication spreading lies daily about President Trump." Now, where's the lie, fam? Because I just showed y'all the video. Where is the lie? Let me play it again because this is a real video. This actually happened. This actually happened. So where's the lie?
That is able to apply for it will know exactly what that number looks like. So as you are going to your lender, as you are working to ensure and understanding what you can plant for next year, you will have that number in hand. And we will continue to talk to our farmers, continue to understand exactly what this looks like and what is necessary. The final thing I'll say is
12 billion.
Well, we're holding $1 billion back. So today we are announcing $11 billion. We are holding $1 billion back just to ensure that we are covering. Your
call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Where is the lie? So if you confront them about something that they do, this is the whole administration. That's why I say leadership starts at the top. So this is what he's done. The leadership starts at the top. So he starts off with attacking people. He starts off with attacking people who have a difference of opinion. Anyone who tries to hold his feet to the fire and hold him responsible or accountable for something, he gets offended. So his people want to pat on the back so badly, his workers, they want to pat on the back so badly that they've taken on his ways. And they know that they won't be held accountable because he's not being held accountable. And he actually likes that. It makes him feel that they're loyal to the cause. Interesting. I'll come back to this if anything changes before we end the live. Family. There was a situation with BUSTA Rhymes. BUSTA Rhymes had a youngster pull up on him and say something slick. BUSTA Rhymes had a youngster pull up to him and say something slick about him. And so BUSTA Rhymes got dead on his head. Let me pull that up for you and let y'all check that out and tell me what y'all think about that. Here it is. Boom, boom.
Get the video on this. Tracy Morgan. Hey, what did I just say? Wait. Nah. Bro, what did you just say? My boy out here. Hold on. Put your camera down. What did you say? Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan. My boy? What does that mean? I don't know. My boy said Tracy. What's the round, nigga? I'm not talking to you, homie. I don't need you to tell me. Whatever. I'm asking you a question. I ain't calling you out. What's the problem? You got a problem getting asked a question? And I don't understand. I don't know what that means either. You trying to be funny? So what you mean, Tracy, my boy? What that mean? Everyone's saying Tracy, so I'm saying Tracy. I ain't hear nobody say Tracy. You know what I'm saying? What did you just say?
Get the video. Get the video on this. Tracy Morgan. Oh, Tracy. What? What did I just say?
Wait. What did you just say?
Nah.
Bro, what did you just say?
My boy out here.
Hold on. Put your camera down. What did you just say? Tracy Morgan. Tracy, your boy, man.
My boy?
What does that mean?
I don't know. My boy said Tracy.
Post around, nigga. I'm not talking to you, homie. I don't need you to tell me.
Whatever.
Okay, so that put Busta Rhymes in a really peculiar situation, because if you tear his head off, he gonna be in the wrong. Everybody gonna say he was wrong. He was wrong for tearing the dude's head off. You know, if you let it slide, it opens it up for others, you know, to run their mouth and think it's something funny about it, right? Now, I wouldn't have even ran that video right there. I didn't see that. I didn't catch that part where they superimposed Tracy Morgan's head with the sound effects and all of that. I didn't even catch that when I saw it the first time, when I saw the video the first time. So that's no disrespect to Busta. Busta all right with me. But here's the thing, fam. A lot of fans mess up the experience. A lot of fans out there, they mess it up for everybody else. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot, I'll say a few. It's a few that mess it up for everybody. This is one of the reasons why oftentimes a lot of fans, a lot of celebrities don't like really interacting with fans, because a lot of people, they know all they do is take this one person. All they take is one person to mess it up for everybody. Now, does Busta does he favor Tracy Morgan? Yeah, he do. He do favor Tracy Morgan. But that youngster knew that wasn't no damn Tracy Morgan. It wasn't like he was walking by himself or whatever. He said, he repeated, he called him Tracy Morgan because his friend called him Tracy Morgan. It's like, oh, his friend messing around, having fun. Oh, and so I know who this is. Man, if Busta Rhymes is anywhere, there's going to be people around. There's people around. Everybody know it's going to be really quick. That's Busta. Busta Rhymes. You're going to hear people, Busta. His name, people going to be saying his name. So you know that's Busta Rhymes. There ain't no damn Tracy Morgan. So, well, one might say, well, because he favors Tracy Morgan, maybe we'll give dude a pass. But what I'm saying is that the dude's comments were intentional. The way I saw it, from my vantage point, it looked like the comments were intentional. He was intentionally trying to make a dig at Busta Rhymes. And what I'm saying is that that's inexcusable, fan or not. And here's the thing, you don't get to be a fan and be disrespectful. Being a fan don't give you a pass to be disrespectful. If you don't know what to say when you approach a celebrity, well, you better know what not to say. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes people can get intimidated by being around a celebrity, and especially when they ain't never, been in that type of environment. They don't really know what to say. But it's very important to know what not to say. And that youngster, he only did that I do believe. He only said that I do believe because he thought it was sweet, and he was banking on nobody going upside his head. So Busta was gracious enough to take the picture with him. You know, he was gracious enough to stand there with him, give him a little bit of his time, and take a picture with him. Man, show some respect at the very least. Show some respect, get your picture, and keep it moving. But some people, they're really not fans. They only want to get the picture because it's a notch in their belt. They only want to get the picture so that they can post it and make themselves look more important than what they are. They're really not real fans. It's a lot of them out there like that. There's been situations where a so-called fan will pull up on a celebrity and ask for a picture, and the celebrity's just walking and say, you know, like, or act like they don't hear him. Maybe they hear him, maybe they don't hear him. But they're on the go. They're on the go. They ain't got time to take a picture, obviously. So the so-called fan, instead of him just eating it and accepting it, they, well, F you then. And this is always because of this right here, that phone. So they trying to go viral. Yeah, well, F you then. No, you ain't da. I think that every celebrity, every person who is notable, especially public figures, I think they should all have, when they're in public, they should have somebody around them to take the case. This is what they do. Just in case this person right here. In fact, we'll call it just in case. Every celebrity, every person, every notable person, every public figure should have a just in case. JIC, a JIC. Every, celebrity, notable, public figure should have a JIC around them, a just in case. Just in case somebody get out of pocket. Handle that, keep it moving, they don't get no money. Because that's what a lot of them are looking for also. A lot of them are looking for opportunities for you to actually put your hands on them so they can get paid, so they can get some easy money. Imagine that. I'm going to provoke a fight. I'm going to start a fight. I'm going to get my ass whooped, and then I'm going to sue. Well, when you start a fight and you get your ass whooped, you don't get to play the victim. Not in my book. Better be glad I ain't the prosecutor. All right, we're going to call for a case. This is case 83473 on the docket. We got a case where Williams versus Teal. So you said that he walked up to you and you said, can I have an autograph? And you said no, and then he called you a MFer. And then you hit him with a brick behind the head. Dismissed. Dismissed, man. Case dismissed. Anybody that starts something, man, you ain't winning in my courtroom. If you start a fight and you get your head knocked off and you come up and you end up in my courtroom, you ain't never gonna win. Soon as I find out who started it, oh, case closed. Case closed. Yeah, I don't like bullies, but just as much as I don't like bullies, I do not like people who start, I don't like people who start mess and then try to play the victim. I don't like that. Now you get everything that's coming your way. But that's the age that we're in right now. You got dudes that get on the internet and tell you straight up, I do this and I do this and yeah, and then yeah, and try to hit me, run up on me. I'ma scream to the police. I'm saying, yeah, he is, Mr. Officer. That's him right there. And they got people out here that actually respect that. They got people out here that follow these dudes, that subscribe to them, that repeat what they say like it's gospel. Yeah. Now, you start the fight, you get your head knocked off, case dismissed. You don't get nothing. You get nothing. Absolutely nothing. Going into the comments, man, let me see what y'all saying. Marcus changed. Sound of Music says, I couldn't be a superstar. Too many people testing you. Yeah. Yigwaba. That's how the old folks used to handle it. If you started getting your ass, yeah. Me neither. That's why I never made that choice. Yeah, family. What's crazy is this. Like, in the streets, I actually got tried a lot less from real bona fide street dudes. I'm talking about like actual killers, like people who actually kill people. I had more respect from. You did? I didn't have to have them. I didn't have all those issues because, you know, even though I had a crew, I was one of those dudes I would put my own work in. But then you get into entertainment and now you got all of this flash and you got cowards. You got real life cowards who ain't got no record of being street, no credibility in the streets, no reputation of being solid, no reputation of being putting in any kind of real work, no reputation of being honorable, and they doing all this here. That's what they doing. Because they're counting on distance and time to be the buffer between you making contact with them. And they're counting on running to the police, and you know what I'm saying? Because that's what they are. Basically informants, cowards. But I'm gonna tell you this. The police ain't gonna follow you home. The judge ain't gonna follow you to drop your kids off at school. They can only sit outside your house for so long. And then it's on to the next. Y'all better stop playing with people out here. I don't even understand it because every day we hear about somebody getting their head knocked off for bumping on the internet. We just saw something I just reported yesterday. These two youngsters who took this girl's life, who was talking crazy to them and talking reckless to them on the internet. She on the internet talking really reckless. And they thought the answer, the best thing they could come up with was shooting her and then setting her body on fire. All from talking reckless. I'm not condoning what they did, but these are the consequences sometimes. So you gotta be careful, man, what you out there saying, man. If it's me, I wouldn't say anything to or about someone who I wouldn't say to their face. If I couldn't say it to their face, if I wouldn't say it to their face, I wouldn't say it on the internet. Because you can only be protected for so long on this internet. The internet is an inanimate object. It ain't got no eyes. It ain't got ears to warn you. It ain't gonna toss you the gun. It ain't finna shoot nothing up for you, nothing. The internet is just the internet. It's all a virtual world. but the things that you do in that virtual world has real life consequences. So you better be careful out there what you say on that internet, what you put out there. China Carter, what's up? Antoinette, Yigwaba, G-Love, G. D Jackson, what's up, D Jackson? Only one angel, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Only one angel. That's one of them names. Like when she get dressed, she ready. She finna go out there. She like, ain't nobody touching me. Like I got this. Like, yeah. When you put a handle out there like that, that's the type of energy you coming with. You got that type of energy. Like, yeah, ain't nobody can. Yeah, be liver than all these. Can't touch me. Break up with a dude, and he started talking slick. Yeah, you ain't gonna find nobody like me. You ain't never gonna find. No, you ain't gonna find nobody like me. You ain't never. Oh man, that's just me. I'm just reading between the lines. That's all. I'm just reading between the lines. That's my time, family. I appreciate y'all joining the live. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you're in the world. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central. Same bad time, same bad channel. Appreciate y'all, family. No more talk.